Hey, what's our welcome back to another Palm Mass video. Today, let's talk a bit about the new Summer Hilda and Grapploct. That's Shiny Grapploct, in fact. That's dropping later tonight, which, as usual, we will be pulling for when she drops. So tune in for that, I guess, right? Because not a lot of people will be pulling for this thing. Look. If you are a Hilda fan, if you're just like Hilda, you like Shiny Grapploct, you like the outfit, go for it, alright? Sure, whatever. But if you don't really care about Hilda, don't care about the outfit, don't care about Shiny Grapploct, god damn, this is a unit. Never seen one unit that you could safely, you know, skip without losing sleep over. It's this one. This has got to be, let me think. I'm pretty sure this got to be the weakest new Summable unit they've come out with this entire year, right? Wow, this thing is not very good, right? And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying there's nothing great about it. There's some nice little things that it does that are actually pretty cool, right? But it's definitely not worth pulling for if you're a free-to-play, player, right? Especially with all the other banners coming up, with the anniversary coming up, right? With the next Vilnar coming up, right? With the Master still out, with all the, other better units that are coming out this month, right? I mean, again, I don't think any of this month's units are really that worth investing gems into, again, considering the fact that we're getting the anniversary soon, next Vilnar soon. But even so, man, this is definitely, not a unit you want to pull for over any of the other units that are coming out this month, which are already not really worth pulling for because, again, of the circumstances, right? It's just the timing of these units in comparison to what's coming up next, what's just, what just happened, right? So yeah, I guess you want me to explain why. We could talk a bit about it, right? If you're wondering, what the heck, why is this guy hating on this Hilda? And look, I'm not trying to hate on Hilda or whatever, right? This is legitimately not a good unit. And again, we could talk about that. It's a support, it's a defensive support, and it's pretty good at that, right? Its defenses are pretty high, its HP is not terrible, right? It is very, very slow. Obviously, you're not going to be doing any damage, but that's fine, it's a support, right? So if you look at the kit, you have Brick Break, Protect, Topsy-Turvy, and then your training move, Get Gutsy. So first of all, let's look at Brick Break. Brick Break, not very good. Brick Break really just goes... It doesn't break any of the the good stuff, right? Like a critical shield or whatever, right? It just breaks the regular stuff, which isn't really worth breaking, since if you crit the opponent, you bypass those things anyways, so it's really a waste of a move for the most part. You got Protect over here, which is good, but you only also have 1 MP for Protect, right? You can't really get it. Another Protect outside of if you do go for the single sync reload, right? Which is, first of all, 3 out of 5. Second of all, relatively expensive to get, honestly, right? Then you could, maybe get 2 Protects. But I mean, Protect itself is nice, right? Assuming it, I'm pretty sure it only, it's a 1-turn. It's like a 1-turn Obstruct, kind of, minus the other stuff Obstruct does, right? Which is good. That's definitely a good thing, right? Then you have Topsy-Turvy, which returns the opponent's raise stats to normal, minus crit, and lowers the enemy's target stats by the same amount. Again, this is the main gimmick for Grapploct over here, and it's just very very stage dependent, right? It's very RNG. There's two different RNGs you have to account for. First of all, what the opponent buffs, and then second of all, which stats your team could take advantage of in terms of your team's damage dealers, right? Okay, if the opponent's, a good scenario would be if the opponents, for example, buff their special defense or physical defense, right? Then you Topsy-Turvy that, you turn those into special or physical defense debuffs. But then you also need the right ones for your team, right? If you debuff the opponents, turn their opponent's physical defenses into physical defensive debuffs, but then you're running a special team, special attack team that's okay, what's the point, right? It did nothing. So it's very dependent, right? on a lot of factors. It's probably not as bad on completely scripted stages, right? But like otherwise, it is relatively hard to make this useful for yourself, right? And then your trainer move, Get Gutsy, buffs your team's defenses by 2, gradual healing to the user. Gradual healing is only to the user, unfortunately, but I mean, otherwise, the defense buffs are nice, right? And then if you look at the passives, you have team beef up 9, buffs your team's attack by 1 when you get hit, which is not that great because you're not guaranteed always to get hit, and even if you do get hit, it's only +1 attack, right? So you're only getting, even if you get hit all 3 turns, right? Even if you're lucky and you get hit all 3 turns. Also, if you are getting hit, most of the time means your opponents aren't buffing their stats using like a stat buffing move. Obviously, they could still hit and buff their stats, so, in certain circumstances, but so then you can't, really get your topsy-turvy thing going as well, right? So, so it's only like +3 attack. Best case scenario is only +3 attack in 3 turns, right? And they have Natural Remedy, which is nice. Catalytic Infliction is okay. I actually misread this initially when I first saw her kit. I thought it was I didn't see this part first time it uses, so it's even worse than I thought because you only get it for 1 time. And yikes, right? You better hope that you really only want to use Topsy-Turvy and Protect like after your first sync when your team actually starts using gauges to attack, right? So yeah, that's actually pretty bad as well, which I initially thought was pretty nice, but didn't see the first time part. Now it's actually kind of problematic as well, right? So yeah, in terms of the grid, right, if you are trying to pull for her, I would say you kind of need 3 out of 5. You kind of need 3 out of 5 because of the fact that at 3 out of 5, you get Bamboozling Retaliation and Disarming Retaliation, which debuffs the opponents either physical defense or special defense, depending on which node, right, when you get attacked. And I think this is probably the best part of her kit, right? And like the main reason why you'd ever really want to run her, I would say, is because of these 2 nodes. And it's locked at her 3 out of 5 grid, which sucks even more, unfortunately, right? But like outside of that, there's some other great things. Got Team Sharp Entry 1, that's at 3 out of 5. Flag Bearer 9, which makes the physical attack buffs slightly less bad, right? And then single sync reload again if you want to use more than 1 protect, and Impervious here as well, right? Team Fist Bomb, Propulsion 4 are also okay nodes, right? So all her good stuff is at 3 out of 5. Without 3 out of 5, like even her 2 out of 5 grid is kind of whatever. You got Staggering 2 on Brick Break, which is okay, right? At least you make Brick Break slightly useful just to get, flinches maybe. First Aid is okay, but like everything else is kind of whatever, right? The MP Refresh and Training move, I guess, but it's only like an MP Refresh 2. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, her 2 out of 5 is not very good either. So if you really do want to like use her, you got to get 3 out of 5. And even at 3 out of 5, she's still not that good, right? Yeah, like again, the great thing about her is these debuffs, but on the other hand, there's just better debuffers. Right? There's even better debuffers who can also buff your team's stats. Right? Like for example, like Palatine's Dawn, who I do think is slightly outdated at the moment as well, right? But like Palatine's Dawn is just like straight up better, right? Much better special defense debuffs, much better offensive buffs, right? Also could give gradual healing, and also not just gradual healing for herself. Obviously, Grapploct's the better tank, right? That's no question. But outside of that, everything else, the good stuff, if you compare the good stuff they do, Palatine's Dawn is better, and Palatine's Dawn is still just kind of okay at the moment. Grapplokt's, it's just in a really weird spot, right? I'm saying again, if you're a big Hilda fan or a Grapploct fan, you can still go for it, right? I mean, it's a seasonal, only comes out around, once, maybe 2 times a year. So if you really like it, sure, right? If you really like it, but otherwise, this is definitely you could just save your gems on, right? So anyways, if I were to give it a pull score, I'd maybe like a 3.5 out of 10. A lot of the score I would say is mostly because she is on a limited banner, right? If she wasn't on a limited banner, this would be incredibly low. This is incredibly. I mean, a 3.5 out of 10 is also not very high, right? Especially for a limited banner, right? But yeah, it's definitely not something worth pulling on, I'd say, right? Even if you're a whale, like, I mean, look, if you're a whale, you can pull on anything, right? You don't have to, you know, have me recommend things for you to pull on. Just pull on everything, right? But if you are a free-to-play player, this is definitely not something you really want to go for, right? Even as defensive support, right? There are much better defensive supports. There's much better defensive seasonal supports, right? If you want a seasonal defensive support, go for like full Caitlyn when she reruns, right? Like that's such a better defensive support, right? Tanks, whatever you want to call it. Again, something like maybe Cresselia or Shiny Ho when that reruns as well. Like there's a lot better defensive supports than this thing, right? So yeah, it is what it is, right? At least I will be pulling for it, so stay tuned for that, I guess. So anyways, that's me. That's one. Hope y'all gentlemen, guys, in the comments down below. Like, enjoy this video, start our channel for some more Palm Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one then.